Hey there and welcome back to the channel where I'm trying to start a brand new business from scratch based on this, a new type of pet carrier that I've invented for cats and small dogs. On this channel, I'm bringing you behind the scenes of the process of me trying to start a business and showing you all the different elements that are going into it. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about costing this product. I'm trying to figure out what the ideal price point is for this product based on how much it costs to make it, but also based on how much competitors are charging, how much I hope to make, and also the fact that I don't want to be gouging people. What I really want here is to offer a quality product at a fair price where I can make a decent margin, I can cover my costs and expenses, customers get what they're looking for, they don't feel like they've been overcharged, and I'm also competitive with the other types of pet carriers that are out there on the market. So let's take a look at the different potential pricing methods or costing methods for physical products, and I'm going to try to figure out which one is most appropriate for my situation, and I'm also going to try to come to a decision on how much I should charge, but it won't be set in stone. And if you have any input as you're watching this, definitely feel free to let me know because I'm open to any suggestions. So as far as I can tell from doing a bit of research, there's 5 different possible pricing methods. The first one isn't really applicable. It's called keystone pricing, and that essentially suggests that you should just mark up the price of whatever you're selling 2 times what you paid for it. But in this case, since I am creating a brand new product from scratch, I'm not purchasing from wholesalers and then selling retail, that pricing method does not apply. Another possible costing method is to use competitive pricing, which is to look at what other cat carriers or pet carriers on the market are going for, and then to try to just slot in somewhere in that based on what I expect my niche to be. Now, the main issue with that method is that I think it works best if there's a bunch of products that are at least relatively similar. But the main issue with this is that it's a brand new product. There is nothing like it on the market. It's never been seen before. It's never been manufactured before. And so in a sense, it makes it a little bit more difficult to try and compare it to the competitors. Also, in the case of pet carriers specifically, there's such a wide range of different possible price points. You can get relatively cheap ones that cost around $30, $40, or you can get more expensive ones that cost well over $100. And I've even seen some like Gucci pet carriers that run in excess of a few $1,000s. And that makes it difficult, I think, to use this model of pricing. However, I am going to use some of what I'm seeing here on Amazon, for example, as a benchmark, because a lot of what we see in the $30, $40, $50 range is what you would consider a pretty traditional pet carrier or cat carrier, whereas mine is definitely new. It's a little bit more innovative, a little bit more luxury or quality, and so I think that allows me, it puts me in a position where I can charge more. So I think mine would fall in the range of premium pet carriers. Now, keeping that in mind for later, another possible pricing method is the markup costing method, where essentially you take what you're buying and then you mark it up at a certain percentage and then resell it to people. And as in the case of the first method, this isn't super applicable here because I'm not purchasing these products wholesale. I've invented it and I have to manufacture it myself from scratch. And so since I'm in charge of essentially the entire supply chain for this product, that method doesn't really apply. But another method could be applied here, which is cost plus pricing. The cost plus pricing method is where you take all of your costs to manufacture something, all the variable costs, and also you factor in the fixed costs, and then you set an additional margin on top of that that you would like to earn. So let's say the target profit margin is something like 20%, then you factor in what all the costs will be, and then you simply set the price to reflect the fact that after all costs are paid, you want to earn a 20% margin. Now, in general, I think that this method of setting the price of a product could be the most fair if you're setting your target profit margin at something that's reasonable. However, in my personal case, this is a little bit tricky because I don't have exact costs nailed down for how much it's going to cost to manufacture these products. And there's so many different variables that go into it, including where I source the manufacturing equipment, where I'm actually producing these, how expensive the plastic is, what type of plastic I'm using, all the little metal pieces that go into it. For example, the hinges on the cat carrier have to be factored in. And then of course, there's other things, variable costs like marketing expenses and potential overhead, and you have to deal with shipping and logistics. So there's so many different variables, and I don't at this point have a real solid handle on exactly how much the costs are going to be, I think the cost plus pricing method could be a little risky because I don't know what my margin of error is there. And if I set my target profit margin too low, don't charge enough for the product, and end up losing money on every unit sold, then that would be a disaster. And even based on the loose figures that I do have, in some cases, it wouldn't even make sense to use this method because I would have to set the price at a ridiculously high level. So for example, if I only actually managed to sell 1,000 units, which is what you see in column B here, I would have to charge $192 per unit, and that's in US dollars, just to break even. And then of course you have to factor on whatever the target profit margin is on top of that. So since there's so many unknowns in this case, I don't really think that the cost plus pricing method really works for me. And this leads me to the final potential pricing model that I'm thinking of using, which is demand pricing. And in a nutshell, this is just where you charge whatever the market will bear. Now this is a little tricky because you have to have a decent understanding and estimate of what the perceived value of the product is from potential customers' eyes. And in my personal case, obviously I don't have the resources to do extensive market research on something like this. And even if I did have that kind of money, I would probably just funnel it into marketing instead of market research. And so this is where, in terms of setting the price for my own product, I'm trying to use a slight combination of demand pricing and also competitive pricing, because I need to look at what my competitors are charging, but also try and figure out how much people are willing to pay for this product regardless of how much it costs me to make it. And the tough part about this is I won't really know if I've hit the sweet spot until I actually start seeing orders come in and I see how much demand there is for the product at the particular price point that I set. But if I look on Amazon at the competitors and sort cat carriers by highest price to lowest price, you can see some of these have ridiculously high prices. I don't know if anyone's actually buying these, but I'm not trying to set my price point so high that I price the majority of people out of the market. And I think that if you're charging, $700 for a pet carrier, a cat carrier, you're probably not going to have very many orders because there just aren't that many people that are willing to pay that kind of money for something like this. But if I run a Google search for luxury cat carriers, I come across price points, in the 100 plus to 200 range that seem reasonable. Obviously, the Gucci pet carrier is ridiculous, but a lot of these are, 130, 115. You've got some other ones here at 140. This one is at 245. So people are buying these products at that price range. So that at least confirms to me that I can charge that and get some sales. And knowing that is a bit of a relief for me, because since the break-even point, if I only manage to sell 1,000 of these carriers, is $192, it is more reasonable though, for example, if I manage to sell 5,000, because the break-even point for that many units is only 58, or let's say $60. So that actually gives me a decent range where if I know if I sell enough units at a certain price point, I can actually at least break even and be profitable. And so I'm thinking of setting the price for this carrier at $99 US, or around $125 Canadian. That's definitely reasonable in terms of what people are spending on cat carriers currently. It's not too high, but it's definitely not at the low end of things. It's not in that $30 to $50 range for your basic generic cat carriers, but obviously this product is a little bit special. And so I'm hoping that at this price point, I can position myself in the market as a high quality luxury cat carrier brand, but also kind of hit that sweet spot in terms of what the demand is, the demand pricing model, where I'm trying to see what people would actually be willing to pay for something like this en masse, because I would much rather sell 5,000 units at a slightly lower price point than if I set it too high and I only managed to sell 500. So that's where I'm at so far with the pricing of this product. In terms of a couple of other updates, I've started working on my Kickstarter campaign page. I'm hoping to post that within the next couple of weeks and then set the target date for actually launching the product at some point in the new year, maybe a couple of months from now, because that will give me enough time to ramp up the marketing efforts and try to actually drive traffic to the page and generate interest for this product. And that will be really the first true moment of market validation for this, where I can see if people are actually interested in it or if I'm just throwing my money down the drain. So if you want to follow along and see this process unfold, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.